So, because a handful of girls decided to create a birthday video for Sebastian Stan, now the entire female fandom is known via or by journalists as being the Tumblr fandom, in that we have not read the graphic novels of our favorite characters and we rely on Tumblr for all of our information. We're only wearing these t-shirts of characters like Loki and the Winter Soldier and etc. because we are just in love with these characters and the actors and we know nothing about them, and we're only doing this because we're trying to catch guys and it's the thing to do and all that stuff. Well, let me tell you a little story about moi. When I was younger, I was so really big into Archie comics. I really loved Blade because Blade was really big when I was younger. I think the biggest comic book movie that came out besides Blade was, I think it was Daredevil, The Punisher, I think, Spider-Man, Blade, and I think Spawn came out when I was younger. Other than that, we really didn't have too many. And of course, you had Batman that popped up as I grew up. When I was younger, this wasn't even like really a big thing because anybody who was into comic books was considered a nerd or a geek or weird and don't look like me and be in these comic books. And then people are just like, oh God, like you really need to grow up or something like that. Even certain people of certain ages get that same thing, like you need to grow up and oh my gosh, that's for such and such people. And it kind of pisses me off a little bit because now you have a generation of girls who are coming up and they're just excited and they're gushing over their favorite actors and they're gushing over these characters and stuff. And I mean, you do have some girls who do like the character, but then they do like the actor and they follow what the actor is doing all the time. You have some fans who go a little overboard and to the point where maybe a handful kind of push the limit, but for the most part, all of the fandom is not like that. And I feel like people are trying to downplay the role of female fans in the popularity of these comic book movies, just based on the fact that they believe certain things about these female fans. Now, I grew up in the Bruce Timm days. In case you don't know about Bruce Timm's Batman Beyond and all the funness that used to come on Channel 11, or the WB as it used to be called, because now it's called the CW. And I used to watch all those cartoons when I was a kid and X-Men popped up. I was in love with X-Men. My favorite X-woman will always be Jubilation Lee. I do love Rogue, I do love Storm, but Jubilee, she is my fave out of all of those X-Men. I also love Wolverine as well, but Jubilation, that's my girl. And growing up and having to deal with all the things that I dealt with being picked on and stuff, because I used to read Foxtrot. I'm sure some of you know about Foxtrot. I'm sure you do. I used to read Bone. Barnes & Noble opened when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, maybe a mile or so away from my house, and that was like my main haven and stuff. If we had had Tumblr, and I think we had LiveJournal, but if we had had Tumblr, it would have been filled with people from my part of the millennial generation just going crazy over these characters, even though there's quite a few who are mothers and fathers who are still in love with these comic books and they're just wearing the t-shirts and just having a fun old time. There are girls who sit down and put all of their time and their money into these cosplays and stuff, and I feel like when you call somebody a fangirl, or you say that there's just this Tumblr fandom thing going on, that completely downplays all of the hard work that all of these people are doing. Because I could just say it's just girls, but there are a lot of guys who draw the different superheroes and write stories as well. Don't think that archive of our own and fan fiction and all these other sites are only filled with the works of women. There are men that do the same thing. When I started going to Comic-Con, that was back in 2011. And I don't know if I told you guys the story of that one, but I'll just get into it now. I was actually on, I think it was LiveJournal. But just like when you go to a con and it doesn't matter which one you're going to and you're wearing a t-shirt with a character on it, you get a whole bunch of stares from people just looking at you like, what the hell are you doing wearing this shirt? Or do you even know the character? And then sometimes you'll get some people coming up trying to talk to you so they could stump you about the characters, and it's really annoying. But it's not the first time that I've been, faced with something like this, because I do like hard rock and heavy metal, and when you're a woman and you go, or a girl, and you go to these shows by yourself, never mind the obvious, but when you go by yourself, you tend to be met with these stares, and sometimes they'll try to check you, and sometimes they will like look at you and stare at you and make sure that you know all the words and you're not just sitting there trying to catch a guy. Like, I've been a fan of Korn since I was a sophomore in high school, and so literally it's almost 2 decades now. And what happened was that just about at every show, recently not so much, but just about at every show, my first couple shows, I had people staring me in the face, staring me in the mouth, like trying to make sure that I knew all the words of the song so they could catch me just in case I slipped up, but I never did. I think the only time that I was nervous going to a Korn show was my first show, and that was when I was a senior in high school. And other than that, after that, I just caught my groove. So I just wasn't that surprised about what was happening at these cons. But nevertheless, it still annoyed the crap out of me. And then I faced like some weirdness when I decided to cosplay, because I didn't really put any pictures up on here. I really should, but I did cosplay Michonne for the first time after wanting to cosplay her for like 2 years, and just either never having the time or waiting to the last minute to get the stuff. And I finally got the wig and the sword, and I was like, I'm just going to use my clothes and I'm going to throw it together and it's going to be so awesome. But it didn't turn out that way, because for every awesome thing somebody said about my costume, there was always one person making some random comment. And I did recall hearing someone saying I really didn't look like the character, when I assumed that fandom cosplay was supposed to be fun. And it didn't matter if you 100% looked like the character. You were just supposed to have fun doing it. And I felt like Michonne the entire day. Somebody even insulted my wig because it was kind of thick and kinky. And they were like, it was basically the wig that I bought from AMC. So if you want to get mad at somebody for the hair, get mad at AMC. That had nothing to do with me. And then I had this black vest, because I didn't have a brown vest, so I wore this black vest. And I had like this camo top and this other top, and I wore my Doc Martens and my gray pants. And I was just super duper happy. And then just to hear somebody try to just tear me down this year really, really upset me. It really upset me. On top of this, one girl got mad at me because I wore some metal horns that I have. They're my Maleficent horns. And I had like this Maleficent top and everything. And she was just like, wearing something on your head is just not considered cosplay. And that kind of pissed me off too, because it's like, I was just doing it my own lazy way, and I said I was going to build my outfits around my favorite characters for Comic-Con. But I think about all the kids who, they're able to get these tickets and they can't afford to do these fabulous costumes and stuff, and they just throw together what they want the character to look like, and they actually look cute, even if they draw. Because one year, I actually saw some guys make their outfits out of duct tape. I saw somebody write something on their chest. One guy was walking around with a Minecraft box on his head. Like, anything goes at Comic-Con. At least that's what I thought until this year. So it was pretty upsetting to be faced with that after going to Comic-Con all these years and not having to hear that. So to read an article this week and to see a woman and then having to just hear this negativity this year, which to me, it's not going to stop me from going to cons. Like, if you don't like what I'm doing, hey, it's a free country. There's plenty of space. You can just turn, I guess, and walk away. But to just read this article where this woman, like, tries to downplay female fans, and it just makes me mad. Like, it's like crabs in the barrel. Like, if people are doing what they love, writing stories about what they love, they are cosplaying what they love, if they are drawing pictures of what they love, if they're taking on personas of what they love, I'm not sure why it bothers you. Nor am I sure why it bothered the hell out of so many people that those girls made that birthday video for Sebastian Stan, aka Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, and why it bothered people so much that so many girls have gravitated towards these superhero movies, because let's be honest, women are the biggest consumers of these movies, and women helped save Marvel. Because yes, and DC, because yes, these movies are targeted towards men, but women are the bigger consumers than men. So women go to see these movies and bring their children to it. Because I remember that year when Thor Dark World came out. And, like, I was in the theater the first time with a bunch of guys in my area and my mom. Like, we were, like, literally the only women in there because we went earlier in the day to see it. And it was nothing but guys. And the second time I went to see it, it was a whole bunch of women in there. Because women love Thor and Loki. And they just love Asgard and everything about it. So I don't get what the problem is at all. And quite a few people at one point started drifting away from these movies a little bit, because Avengers is a very popular movie, but the other movies after that really weren't pulling in as much as Marvel thought they were. And then there was like kind of an up. It outsold every other movie of that year, and the movies leading up to it, they did well, but not as well as the Avengers. And the reason is, not only did guys go see that movie, but a crap load of women went to see that movie. And Marvel has made it their mission to not only cast actors and actresses that are good for the roles, but are good looking people, to obviously draw in who but the women. And then after Avengers, every other movie started going up, and then Guardians of the Galaxy went up, and Age of Ultron is going to go even higher. So to count on all these women is kind of messed up. Or to just say they're only doing it just because, like, it's a learning experience for some of the women who aren't into comic books and stuff, and sometimes they go with their boyfriends, and then they realize, I really like this character. I might want to get these comic books, or I want to get this shirt or something like that. Like, to me, it doesn't matter, but if you watch my videos, you know how I feel. Like, it's not really that much of a big deal. But thank you guys so much for listening to this rant. And don't forget to rate this video, leave your comments, and subscribe. Hit the button below. And check me out on Twitter and Google+. I love you guys. I've got a Survivor video next, so... Or should I say I have to watch Survivor and do the review next. So you guys take care. Bye, everyone. Bye.